Hello there, it's Lisa Starr with another episode of StarCast, the podcast for wellness warriors. We have an interesting topic to cover today, and one that I think will be relevant to most of our listeners, especially those that are in the spa and wellness industry. I am joined by John Morris, the corporate director for Sundara Projects and owner liaison. Most recently, John was the GM of Sundara Spa in Wisconsin. Welcome, John, and thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So, John, can you tell us a little bit for listeners who aren't familiar with Sundara about the property and where it is and what it's known for?
Sure. Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Sundara is a true destination spa located in central Wisconsin. We're in the Wisconsin Dells region. We're set on 80 acres. In 2023, it was our 20th anniversary, and we underwent a large expansion in 2018. We encompass 44 overnight rooms, and we have 27 treatment rooms. We're set on 80 acres in a fragrant pine forest. So we do a great deal of business both for day guests and overnight guests. And our market is the Chicago to Minneapolis corridor in central Wisconsin for overnight guests.
Well, that sounds like idyllic surroundings. So you say most folks come up from Chicago?
Our number one market is Madison for our day guests.
Mm-hmm.
For the overnight guests, it's anywhere in the Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota region.
Mm-hmm. And how long do most guests stay there, John?
Our average overnight stay is 2 nights.
Uh-huh. That's like a weekend getaway kind of place.
Exactly. Although, since COVID, our occupancy is quite high, even midweek. We will operate this past year at about a 95% occupancy level. Just amazing.
Well, that's tremendous, and I'm sure it's due to your management and your team. Could you tell us a little bit about the spa? Like what components are in your spa?
Yeah, we have 27 treatment rooms. We offer a full array of massage services, body treatments, facials. We have a therapeutic salt chamber. We have the Well System Wave, a new water-based massage table. We offer cryo T-shock in terms of body contouring. We have 3 hydrofacial machines. So and we also have a salon where we offer manicure and pedicure services.
Mm-hmm. Did you say you have 27 treatment rooms?
Yes, we do, 27.
And you have 44 overnight rooms.
Correct.
That's a very interesting ratio, not one that we see that often. What was the reason for the spa being so large?
Well, our day business is approximately 50% of our overall spa revenue. So our typical guests, we have a beautiful array of water amenities, and they will drive up really anywhere from a 2 to 3 hour drive. And they will come in at 9 or 10 in the morning, and they will leave at 5 or 6 in the evening. We like to say at Sundara, the word spa is both a noun and a verb. And our guests, they just spend the entire day with us.
That's amazing. What a great idea. It seems like the spa is a huge contributor to your revenue then.
It is over 55% of total revenues is related to
from
spa.
the spa. Wow. Right. That's probably a record in small properties. Well, good for you. So, John, you and I were talking about the challenges that spas face today, mostly in staffing. And you've not been immune to that. How close is the nearest metro area to Sundara?
Well, it's Madison, which is an overall population of about 600,000, and that is approximately 50 miles.
So not that convenient. People have to drive, an hour, maybe more to get out there?
Right. That is correct.
So that probably impacts your hiring ability as well, I would think?
It does. Now, there's a variety of what I like to call hamlets and villages in the area that we are in central Wisconsin. And that's where the bulk of our staff comes from. The Wisconsin Dells is known as a tourist destination, and they've got a very robust J1 program. So they've had a lot of students that have come from overseas And over the years, they have segued into other industries. And one is the spa industry, where they get licenses, either massage therapists or an esthetician.
Mhm. So, would you say it has been more difficult to hire estheticians or massage therapists for you?
Massage therapists.
Uh-huh. And hence the reason that we're chatting. So, you and I were together. I think we were at a We Work Well event actually, and you mentioned to the group in the buyer's boardroom that you were going to start educating your own massage therapists. And I thought, wow, that sounds like a lot to take on. So I wanted to loop back with you and see, how that's going. Can you tell us a little bit about how that program started and how it's working for you?
Well, absolutely. I'm going to just go back a little bit. And
Mhm.
once we opened after COVID in May of 2020, we, like everybody else, were in a real pinch for massage therapists. There were therapists that left the industry. There were massage schools that closed down because of a lack of enrollment. There were a great deal of therapists that just enjoyed the time away and decided to retire.
Mhm.
So it really impacted us. And on the flip side of the
All,
coin,
but let me say, all spas saw those things across the world. I think we all experienced that, but you put it into good words.
absolutely. And the demand was never greater
Mhm.
with revenge travel or people really wanted to focus on wellness. And so we had the conundrum of vastly increased demand and lessened supply. So we tried to come up with some innovative techniques to get our therapists to pick up more shifts. But at the same time, we, are very concerned about their well-being and the number of appointments that we can take. What I
The innovative ways you came up with, did they work?
well,
Did
one of
you
them
get
was
more
being a
shifts?
yeah, well, one of the thing was as general manager, if anybody picked up an additional 12 hours as a massage therapist, I offered them a complimentary overnight stay in the hotel where they
Mm,
could bring in their wife and
mm.
family, and that really caught on fast. So we were able to pick up more therapist hours with that tactic.
And did you limit that stay to a midweek stay?
There were certain restrictions, yes,
Yeah,
midweek,
sure.
sure.
So that was a great idea, but maybe not quite enough for your long-term need.
Right. And what I was doing, I was, reaching out to massage schools really around the state, even ones that were, 2 hours away. And what I was finding was that the massage schools, well, let me put it this way, the salon and professional academies might have 40 students, Lisa, of which 35 were cosmetologists or estheticians,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
only a few that were massage students. And
Right.
so the number of graduates coming out of massage schools was greatly diminished.
Mhm.
Um, so I connected with a gentleman. His name is Jeffrey Montoya. He has a Academy of Health is the name of his program, where he came up with an online hybrid massage school, and that's what we implemented here at Sandara.
Mm.
And if you like, I could go into the details on that.
Yes, I would like you to, but first tell me when did you have this idea?
That idea was, I would say, germinated in 2021.
And so you said,
Uh,
I could maybe try this too.
Correct. And over the years, I talked to a lot of massage school operators, and I asked them, would you be interested in starting a branch campus or a satellite campus? And they just didn't want to, take that on as their business model.
The
But
schools that you spoke to, they were like, "No, we're good. We've got
right.
what we want." Right.
And so we connected with this particular organization. And the difference is his program is approved but not accredited. And this was all new to me. And the difference is accredited would enable the students to get the FAFSA funding from the government.
Mhm.
But because his program was approved, the licensing body in Wisconsin, the department is DSPS, they would accept this in terms of granting a
Mhm.
license. So the only hurdle was to create the financing. So what we did there was it was a joint effort, and he provided the financing for his students where they would take out a loan with him to pay for the tuition. Incidentally, his tuition was significantly less than what we were finding in the industry.
Mm,
The cost of his massage school, which was a hybrid online, was $6,500.
mm.
The average ticket price for the other competing massage schools that were accredited ranged from $14,000 to $16,000.
Oh, that's a
So
big
it's a
difference.
significant savings. So
How
what
many hours do you need in Wisconsin? Is there a state regulation around the hours required for certification?
660.
100. Okay. So you could pay 6,500 or 11,000, right? That's a pretty good range.
Right. And so what happened was we then came up with a tuition reimbursement program. So, Lisa, let's say you're a student at the Sandara Academy of Health Massage School. It's a 45-week program. It is 1 day a week in class here at Sandara
Mhm.
from 9 to 1. And then the rest of the learning is online, approximately 10 hours a week.
Mm,
Once you graduate, if you're accepted for employment here at Sandara, we have a 3-year program where we will pay off the $6,500 tuition in years 1, 2, and 3, as long as you're an employee of good standing here at Sandara.
mhm.
So it was a win-win for the student. Um, the
So does the
academy,
employee pay first and you pay them back, or how does that work?
right? They would then submit it after they would pay Jeffrey Montoya first, and then at the end of 1 year of employment, we would reimburse the student.
You reimburse them 1/3 of the amount of the tuition.
Correct.
Got
So it
it.
was a little bit
So
of golden handcuffs, and it
got
was a
it.
3-year program to be in good standing. So that is really how we came up. So basically, the Academy of Health provides the curriculum. We recruited our lead massage therapist to be the classroom instructor
Mhm,
on Wednesdays from 9 to 1. We made a big effort to recruit the students, and we provide the space.
mhm,
The other neat thing about our program, which could translate to other spas, is you need practice bodies once the students are learning. Well, our practice bodies were our existing massage therapists. So this was another win-win. Not
mm,
only were the massage therapists getting complimentary massages, working out their aches and pains
mhm.
here with a student, but what better student to give feedback to the massage student than an existing massage therapist?
That's excellent. So the therapist, your lead, who provides the classroom instruction, did you compensate them for that in some way?
She is paid by the Academy of Health for that time.
Oh,
So she's
okay.
basically not on our payroll for those 4 hours.
Hmm. But you have to take her out of service,
Correct. And those were admin days anyway. So that really
right?
wasn't an
Oh,
issue.
so it didn't really impact revenue to do
It did
that.
not. It did not.
Good. And so where's the classroom? Like, where do they meet?
We have meeting space upstairs on our second floor that we dedicated for Wednesdays from 9 to 1.
Hmm.
We have the supply of massage tables and all the other supplies that are needed.
Hmm.
So it really it worked out very well.
And the students do the 10 hours a week online. I assume they're watching videos. I mean, what's the instruction like for them?
Yeah, it's a combination of watching videos and taking the coursework.
Hmm. And who checks on their progress? I mean, do they check in with anyone to see how they're doing?
Yes. They, as far as the classroom, we provide the feedback to Jeffrey for that. As far as the online, that is directly to Jeffrey. And candidly, there has been a few that were put on, shall I say, academic warning
Sure.
as the year went by. And it wasn't that what they were doing um, was wrong. They just weren't keeping up with the number of hours.
Hmm.
So there was reminders, and then they corrected it.
Well, 10 hours a week, well, 11 really. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of time for a working professional or someone that has a family. But, it's also a shortcut, get it in
Right,
less than a year, right?
right. And Lisa, I couldn't. I want to emphasize that point. Most of the other schools that we talked about were a Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5.
Hmm.
So this, every one of our students is able to still maintain their other jobs.
Hmm. And
Uh,
so how many
uh,
students can you manage at one time?
well, we have 4 students. We have four
Hmm.
students. It is nice to have an even number in terms of, pairing up.
Right.
Um, initially we had more that were interested, but then, like anything else, once it came to when the rubber met the road, it was four, and all four have
Hmm.
stayed on us now. The program began in February, and they will be graduating in January of 2024.
And then of these four, how many do you think will stay and be employed at Sundara?
We believe all four will be, based on conversations that we've had and their love for the surroundings, what they've learned here at Sonara.
Hmm.
So,
Well, it's kind of ideal, right, John? Because they're sort of integrated. They know everybody. They know the facility. It seems very easy to just slide into employment there.
you hit on a key point because whenever there is a new hire, they have to learn the surroundings of the facility,
Hmm.
things like, where to clock in, a little bit about the software, how to manage your appointments, where to go for questions. And all that happens during the course of their schooling here. So it
Hmm.
is a huge difference.
So they do their classroom space. They work on other massage therapists. They do the online program, but they're not employed at Sundara in the meantime. They're off doing other jobs.
That is
Um,
correct.
and they will come back in January and you will offer them positions. So the hard costs to Sundara, I want to make sure I have this clear, have been taking that person, the admin person, out of circulation, but she wasn't even on the books for 4 hours a week, and the meeting space that you've allocated once a week for 45 weeks. But you've had no other hard costs. I mean, I guess you have linens and oils and supplies and such.
Right. The hard costs have been absolutely minimal. And, even in the terms of the meeting space, I really can't recall that there was a conflict on that. And if there might have been one or two over the past years, but we were able to work around that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not an issue. I do want to add one thing. One of the students is currently employed with us as a nail technician.
Oh,
Um,
perfect.
and two of the others work at our mothership property, which is our water park, the Wilderness Water Park. So
Mm-hmm.
um, there was some synergies there.
Mm-hmm. So when they become employed, I mean, how do they begin to pay you back? Is it payroll deduction? I mean, what are the legal agreement, the terms that you had to come up with for this to work?
Yeah, we drew up the payback. It's just they handle the financing with the Academy of Health. And then once they complete year one, we'll cut them a check for that 1/3 of the tuition cost.
That's really innovative, John. I mean, how did you come up with this idea?
Well, they say necessity is the mother of invention. And what did the definition of insanity by the great Albert was, doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. And
Mm-hmm.
I was spending a lot of time recruiting, going to the schools, going to job fairs, and because of our distance from Madison. And the fact of the matter is, massage students have a lot of choices with chiropractors, hospitals, opening up their own practice. So I had to come up with something that was a little different, and
Mm-hmm.
this has really worked for us.
That's really great. Have you seen, it's probably early to say, but have you seen an influx in more applicants? Do you think having this program has raised your profile among the massage community in your area?
I believe it might have. I will say this: I have noticed an improvement in the massage therapist recruitment over the last 6 months. If
Mhm.
Lisa, when we saw each other at We Work Well, which was in March of this year, we were still really struggling. But I
Mm.
would say right now, since about maybe July, we have picked up one applicant a month
Mm.
for gainful employment here,
Mhm.
maybe even two. Whereas in the entire year of 2021, we might have had two applicants for the whole year.
Mm. Well, it's probably hard to say, John. It's probably a combination of what you're doing. And we are just seeing nationally more people are kind of coming out of the woodwork, maybe coming back to work. Maybe they just tired of working at home or working on
Right.
their own. It's always appealing, the sound of working for yourself, as you know, for a massage therapist. That means flapping around your table and linens and oils and music and in and out of the car and weather and all. I mean, and after a year or two of that, it can be pretty appealing to just go somewhere where that's all done and you just show up. So we're hoping that we're seeing a little bit more of the folks return to the workforce.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. And the other thing, one of the greatest source of recruitment for us have been our existing massage therapists.
Mm.
We have a very robust referral program. So if they have an associate that is a licensed massage therapist, we, are very proud that we take good care of our therapists and they recommend Sundara as a place of employment, and they will refer them to us. So we picked up, new massage therapists that way.
I think that's a great point you make, John. I wouldn't recommend that anyone try this who is not considered an employer of choice. I mean, if you're not making your current employees happy, this seems like a
Right.
road that's not going to lead to the golden pot at the end of the rainbow, so to speak. Do you have any closing advice for anyone that might want to consider putting their own program like this in? Like, what did you learn? What were the surprises?
Well, the only surprise was I think initially we had 8 students that were convinced they wanted to go through with it. And I thought there might be a little attrition, but it got down to 4. So I was a little surprised that we had some that once the program began, there was only one that dropped out after they began the program and they moved geographically to Alabama. So
Oh.
that was a different reason. But other than that, I would classify it as a very pleasant surprise that,
Hmm.
our partnership with the Academy of Health has been seamless. We've had great learning for our students because of our massage leader. The other advantage of this program for a spa is you get to learn the students. So if
Hmm.
there's a student that you don't believe would be qualified to come work for you, you're going to learn it during those 45 weeks.
Hmm. Oh, for sure. And then you just don't offer them a position at the conclusion.
Correct.
Right. No, it's a really good trial for both sides, and for them to see. But as you say, it's a red carpet right into regular employment with you. And I'm sure they have no shortage of bookings waiting for them, which is also appealing.
Right. The other thing I just want to add is, we have wonderful relationships with the different massage schools. And in conversations with them prior to starting this, the message was, John, it just won't work.
Mm.
99% of all the students need the federal funding. So the business model won't work.
Mm.
I beg to differ. We
Hmm.
worked out a program with the funding, and it looks like it will work.
Well, good. I mean, it's certainly a lot easier to come up with $6,000 than $15,000. So
Right.
that's really helpful. I applaud you for the innovation and for trying it. I mean, we've all been saying, "Oh, we need more people," and you actually are doing something about it. So kudos to you, John.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, I want to give the credit to the team that set up the room every Wednesday, to the person that's doing the instruction, to the people that have given feedback to the students, and to the Academy of Health. It was a real team effort. But if anybody has any questions, I'd be an open book in providing information.
Well, that's very generous of you. So you can look him up on LinkedIn, John Morris, Corporate Director for Sundara Projects and Owner Liaison. And thanks for joining us today, John.
It's been my pleasure.
So we're back with another person to shed some light on us on our StarCast podcast on the current situation of the difficulty of hiring and training massage therapists in the spa industry. This is a global problem. It's not just America. But I was struck last week as I was scrolling through LinkedIn by something I saw. And I reached out to that person who I've known for a long time. So we're happy to have Cassandra Stratton join us. She is the Spa Education and Service Director at Mario Tricocci, based in the Chicago area. So thanks again for joining us, Cassandra.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm honored. This is great.
So you are the Corporate Education and Service Director for Mario Tricocci. For listeners who don't know, who haven't been around for a long time, could you tell us a little bit about what Mario Tricocci is and how many locations you have?
Yeah, Tricocci is, it's a staple in the Chicagoland area. We have guests that, knew Mario when he was providing hair services way back when, but we've got a total of 13 locations. We are a full service salon and day spa. Right now I have a total of 70 massage therapists working throughout all 13 locations, and they vary in sizes.
What's the most massage treatment rooms you have in one location? What's like your biggest massage location?
Yeah, so our Oak Brook location has, let's see, I think we're at 24 treatment rooms, and that's a combination of face and body, so aesthetics and massage. It's probably our biggest team as well, to fill those rooms through the week and through the weekend. So, but it's about even between massage and face. There's a demand for both at that location.
That's fortunate. It's good to have the facial demand. We're not having much trouble hiring estheticians. It's been much easier. And of course, you have advantages with aesthetics in terms of average ticket and retailing. And,
Absolutely.
it's good to get those massage requests into aesthetic, but we digress. I digress.
Yes.
So you had a notice in LinkedIn last week and probably elsewhere that you were giving a $2,000 bonus for a new hire of massage. And I noticed you've done that before. Tell us how that works and, in terms of the logistics of the bonus, and how has it helped in bringing in applicants, if at all?
Yeah, the bonus, that's an easy one. The bonus is really, what I found is that our massage therapists that really accept the offer that we provide isn't because of that bonus. I think the bonus is a good hook. It catches somebody's eye that may have not considered working in the spa or knows what Tricocci is. So it's a great lead in to someone to say, oh, let me look a little bit further about that bonus structure. But that's paid over a 12-month period. And so they get a stipend each month for the amount of that 2,000. So that's an easy one. It's, I think the idea, the concerns that we have that, we're lacking that candidate pool is our labor market has changed dramatically in the last several years. And many of the schools that produce our new talent are now, just kind of disappeared. So there's lots of different reasons for that, with the schools closing or, therapists leaving the industry. But, with that method from the bonus structure or to even just putting our postings up on that traditional method of job boards and school boards, the area that I think is impactful the most is when we really build a relationship in the schools as they are learning, as they are thinking beyond getting that license, because that process is about a year between, let's see, 9 to 10 months of just being in school. And then they have another 3 to 4 months to get that license, to take the test and get the license. We've got to start early, recruiting that team member. And a bonus structure may just be like that little bit of, oh, this is, interesting, let me look a little deeper. So
You
it's
know,
yeah,
but you found that schools have closed, right? Some of them.
correct.
How is your school supply out in your area of Chicago?
So it's limited. I would
Mhm.
definitely say it is limited. We had some of our largest schools in the Chicago area close. That was, they were producing probably around 200 students a year.
Mm.
Um, and they had shut the doors. I believe they're still available on the East Coast, but I think anything west of the Mississippi, I think is now
Mhm.
has been closed. So, but I think what I've been seeing, because I do head out to the schools as I'm a massage therapist, I still have my license. So when I do head out to the schools, I may do a demo, or I may talk about, some unique services at Tricoci that kind of is intriguing. It gets them excited of what's next after, taking that license test. But I think I'm seeing some very slight lift in those enrollments. So, right after pandemic, we did see when schools got them back into the classroom, we saw a very small group of people, maybe 4 to 6 at some of our schools. And then just recently we're hearing, 10 to 14, and some are a little
Mm.
16, so it does seem to be growing slowly, but it's a very unique profession. And the funniest thing, Lisa, is that the demand for massage from our consumers is growing. It's crazy. So people are,
Oh, yes, now.
needing that touch and needing, looking for wellness options. And so the demand for massage is there, but yet, providers are limited.
No, it's like the perfect storm, Cassie. You're
Yeah,
right. I mean,
right.
the consumers want it more than ever, and we have less applicants than we ever did,
Yeah.
both at the same time. So it's
Yeah.
not ideal. So, how many people would you say, if there's a class of 6 students, how many
Mhm.
are likely to go to Tricoci as a result of your having been in the school and been a presence to them?
Sure. There's so many avenues for a massage therapist to take their practice from, and a lot of them think, oh, independent, I can work from home, make my own,
Mm.
money. I can, be flexible with my hours, have their own business. And, it's a great plan and great thought. It's not that easy. It sounds, like easy,
Right.
but it definitely is challenging with, providing business in your own home or independent. But let's say out of that 16, I may see 2 to 3 that would be good candidates for the spa that we,
Mhm.
that in our type of environment. But the same time, I have, some business needs. I can't just hire Monday through Friday,
Mhm.
8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Like I've got to meet the, the needs of the business. So I from that small, candidate pool, then I have to narrow it down to matching the needs with a flexible schedule. So you have, I
Mhm.
usually have weekends, or I have some evenings. And if someone can't do those types of shifts, I may have, not be able to hire them. So
I feel
it's,
like we're seeing that in applicants,
mhm,
Cassandra, that people want to work like it's a bank, like
yeah.
during Monday through Friday or during the day, and they don't really want to work the evenings and the weekends, which is, of course, when clients are free to
Of
come.
course. Yeah, it's our busiest times, evenings and weekends. And until you build your business with those guests that are available, Monday through Friday, daytime or mornings, it's going to take a while to find those regulars to do those
Mhm.
hours. But someone starting out, those prime time is definitely evenings and weekends. Those are my priorities to fill rooms first. And of course, it's much smarter to work during those times until you start transitioning your guests to hours that you would prefer, right? So but
Right.
it's going to take some time to find those the regulars, at least, to to be consistent, and have that, a paycheck that's consistent as well. So
Right. Yeah, when you go into the school, I'm sure you speak to them about
yeah.
shifts and what the importance is
Mhm.
working. Like you say, you want to be there to build your book on the weekend when people want to come and they're not that choosy about who they see.
Right.
Do they,
Absolutely.
do you think the students now, what are you hearing about in terms of how long they want to work for a week? This has long been an issue for massage, right? And what they consider full time or what they're able or capable of doing. What are you seeing?
Yeah. So for Tricoci to be eligible for our full-time benefits, which includes from health to dental to vision, 401k plans, that, that those benefits that are pretty important nowadays, they need to they need to work an average of 30 hours during the week. And so, but that can be easily done by, working one full weekend day and then, a few days during the week. So, so if the therapist needs benefits, they'll need to maintain at least 30 hours a week. If they do not, then we can be a little bit more flexible and put them where where we can match a schedule. But, I think everybody has different needs on what they want to work and what they can work. Of course, the last thing we want is burnout, right? That is one reason that therapists don't stay in the industry, because they're just burned out. But, it's a learning process too. You have to build up strength to do more massages in one day. But
learning the ergonomics of it and your body, how to protect yourself.
Absolutely. So, we just did a class a couple months ago, and it was one of my colleagues that I've known a long time as well. He came out and he did deep tissues with no thumbs, like the deep tissue massage without the overuse of your hands. It's such a game changer. That's one way to lengthen the career of a therapist. And then, of course, putting your breaks in, maintaining your health, strength training, all those things that are demanding for massage therapists. We want them to last a long time. The guests don't want to go to multiple therapists. They want one therapist that they can see forever and ever. But it's hard work. It's definitely, a job that's physical, and you have to be prepared for it. But at the same time, it's so rewarding. It is such a career that can be very profitable for a therapist. At the same time, emotionally rewarding and challenging, and you don't know where it could take you. I started, as a massage therapist on the floor. I had no idea where I'd be in 10 years. Now I'm on my 23rd year at Tricoci.
Amazing.
And I know every one of my team members from face and body, and and then some. And I've learned so much over the years to where this profession can take you. And so it's definitely a rewarding and fulfilling position. But we just need more therapists to join the force.
People to do it.
Yeah, that's where we struggle. So
what have you found has been effective in keeping the therapists, the 70 therapists that you have? Like what would you say are some retention strategies that have worked for Tricoci?
So yeah, there's, I like to think of, like a total package. I always say, like, we know that an employee typically stays because of the people they work with, right? So massage therapists are people pleasers. They are, they're very in tune with the energy around them and who they work with and the environment. They build emotional connections, not just professional ones, with their guests and with their team members. It's your work family, right? When you come to work, it's sometimes you see your work family more than you see your own family if you're working full time. So that's one of the priorities that we have, is to make sure that every team member feels like they're welcome, that they're supported, that they're appreciated. And, it's typically a reason for some to stay in one place for a long time. But we can't obviously, not forget the important pieces like being compensated, making sure that they have benefits, the professional growth, like this free CEUs, bringing in educators to help their longevity of their profession, right? That's all part of our package at Tricoci. And education is probably one of the top initiatives. It is one of our top initiatives at Tricoci. It's been that way for the last few years, and it's going to continue. Mario, Tricoci himself, he was, I'm a student for life. I'm always learning, and we kind of take that as our motto. So I always say that in our community, Tricoci is known in, in the Chicagoland area as having the latest trends, beautiful locations, luxurious spas, results-driven treatments. But behind the scenes, people do not know that we focus a lot on educating our team members, making sure that they can grow in their profession, do what they love, and make money. Feel supported and feel that they are growing as a professional, not just, with this company. So,
So the classes that you put on, the educators you bring in, you fund those. Tricoci funds those.
Yes. We have typically, I usually look at every quarter, we usually have something, either a new product to learn, whether it's ingredients or, something that's going to be results driven. But we also have then that technical piece of it, whether it's a new technique or it's a new type of service. So I usually like to do that at least, once a quarter is what I'm putting out. Sometimes I have team members like, well, we just learned this, this other thing. Now we're going to shift, but we've got to know more than our guests, right? We've got to be on the top of our game. We've, guests have so much information at their fingertips. We've got to be ahead of the game. So as much as, I'm putting out education, I will never stop. It will resonate with one of our team members. And, if they learn whether it's an ingredient or a technique to help their day better or, to make their guest happy or to make their day easier, then, that's going to be one of my goals.
Well, also you have the consideration that in Chicago and in Illinois, you have CE requirements, which is not true in all of the country, but you're supplying that for them. Do you pay them when they come to get the education?
So we, two pieces. If it's a voluntary, if we make it a mandatory piece, like it's part of our protocol, we definitely pay them to be there in addition to offer CEs. The other side, if it's a voluntary, day where I'm not expecting them to attend, then it would be something that they would just gain CEs part of part of their opportunities to grow.
So they can choose how they want to approach that. So this bonus, how do you think it's working for you overall and it rustling up a few folks? And I do like that you said it's not the reason. We know that massage therapists are not that financially driven, but I liked your comment that it gets attention. Have you seen any kind of bump in applications when you do that?
Yeah, we typically see a little bit of bump when we kind of refresh that job posting. I think it's a driver, but other, are not, I wouldn't say our competitors, because I think we are all, those that provide, massage services and companies that have that massage therapy. I think all of us are kind of doing somewhat similar bonus structures in the same, that are comparable to Tricoci. I'm seeing that pretty much across the board with some bonus sign-on bonuses. But where I see it most is referrals. We know that quality therapists typically come from referrals of our current team members. So I'm constantly sharing, I guess the idea of our team member promoting themselves as, therapists and sharing their career experience at Tricoci, because that's where you're going to have that like-minded, professional say, you know what? She looks like she is having, a great experience doing massage. I've always been intrigued. I'm going to go see what massage school is about, So I think it, creates this like-minded environment. And so it's so important for the students at the schools to share their experience at school, especially those fun days, what they're learning. Maybe there's a anatomy class that's intriguing. You're going to get somebody that says, you know what, I think I want to look too. So as much as I would like to say we get a little bit of, a lift in our applicants when we repost with that bonus, I see it more when it's a referral, and it's typically, a great hire because you've got someone that says, I know this person, I know how they work. It's a great fit. So
Well, and they're an ambassador for you as well. I mean, that's
Yes.
one thing that you can count on for Tricoci is that you've got an amazing reputation. You've been around a long time. I mean, I would assume you are the employer of choice to be a massage therapist in Chicagoland. So,
Yeah, we like to think that way.
yeah.
I always I promote, any applicant. I love the ones that say, "Oh, Cassandra, I have always wanted to work at Tricoci. I've been a guest there before. I've had my first massage there. I knew in school I wanted to apply to Tricoci." But I also want them, I want them to go out there and have other experiences, with other employers. I want them to interview in different environments because I want them to be, to want to say, nope, Tricoci is still where I want to go. I want to be able to be the first choice because we have the best, opportunities, the CEs, the growth, the education, the compensation, the benefits. I want to be that first choice for them, but they won't know unless they interview at others. So I do encourage them to always interview at other locations as well, because I don't ever want to make them second guess themselves of what else is out there. I want them to experience that. And you always, I should say never, you always learn more when you go into that facility, get a massage yourself, be a guest. You typically learn a lot that way.
Well, something I'm curious about, I just thought of while you were talking. I mean, you've got 13 locations, 70 some people. There are call outs, inevitably. I mean, have you instituted any program by which people's earnings may be affected by not calling out, or a bonus for not calling out, or a penalty for calling out? Do you have any suggestions on how to sort of try to mitigate that?
Well, are you thinking, just working with our team to work consistently? Or, I mean, I think their income, because we are on a commission base, there's a versus that we pay. And I think if, they know if they aren't coming to work, their guests, suffer, not in a, physical way, but the guests won't be able to see them. And so I think they are mindful enough to know that if they are taking a day off, or if they aren't able to make it in, that we reach out to their guests and make sure that there's another option for them to come in, because some are dealing with pain, some are, dealing with stress, and others are, they were looking forward to that birthday, weekend,
Right.
And massage was included. So I think there's a lot of various ways that, the team member stays mindful of their own business. I always like to say they are the CEO of their room. When they get behind that door, that massage guest with, their own business they have to have that partnership as well. How often they're coming back. So what are they recommending for at-home care? That kind of all goes with it. And if they're not at work, they know that there's some miss on that piece of it.
So you currently don't pay an hourly plus scenario, it's straight commission?
It's an either or system. So it's an hourly or commission, whichever is greater. And so with that structure, we're able, to have some slight different price points in the massages, so that if they are working harder, such as deep tissue, or they're doing, this, with stretching or percussive therapy or deep tissue work, that they are making more money when they do those advanced services, and instead of just one flat rate. And so we want to make sure that they're compensated for, for their hard work.
No, I think of course you want that strategy, but I think the fact that it's an either or, perhaps they have more to lose by not coming to work, and maybe that helps your situation. Who knows? So in closing, Cassandra, what do you think is going to happen in the next 4 or 5 years in the massage industry? I mean, are we going to continue to struggle to find therapists, or what are you feeling like is going to happen?
So some of the reports that I've been reading is that the massage industry employment is still projected to grow 18% in the next decade. So 2022 to 2032 is what they're looking at. And so it is a fast growth for compared to other occupations. But with a slight increase in classroom sizes, we hope that trend continues to grow and grow. I mean, beauty industry is booming, so the endless supply of estheticians that are coming to the industry. Massage is still going to be on demand for our guests, and as long as we continue to support the schools, we are, being in the school, making a face-to-face connection with those therapists so they stay in school. We want them to graduate, of course, and then tell them about, finding that right place for them that fits them, where they can do what they love and make money, building this business. It will turn out with, eventually more therapists attending, but it's really about exposing the career. And we'll see that growth happen. It'll just be a little slower than normal. So, but the more that we all directors, all the industry wellness leaders, as long as we keep, sharing the career and the opportunities, and make sure that our teams are compensated, that we give them a really great platform to do what they love, we'll see it grow. But we can't stop sharing that, right? Because it does take some time.
Well, those are encouraging words from you. So I'm glad to hear that. Thanks again for joining us. This is Cassandra Stratton, Spa Education and Service Director of the 13-location Mario Tricocci brand across Chicagoland. Thanks again, Cassandra.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Lisa.